The National Museum of African Art is thrilled to be hosting the Children's Africana Book Awards ceremony this year, once again. The Children's Africana Book Awards is sponsored by the Outreach Council of the African Studies Association. And the awards are designed to encourage the publication of accurate, balanced children's materials on Africa, to recognize literary excellence, and to acknowledge the research achievements of outstanding authors and illustrators.
Providing young people with authentic, well-researched books on Africa is absolutely essential. How do our kids get the idea that something is wrong with Africa? In a myriad of ways. Theme parks, movies, ads, TV. The process begins even before they enter school. Old imagery, refashioned for a new generation. The struggle to correct distorted images of Africa in America has been going on since Africans were first forced to this country. Collectively, we can change how Africa is depicted in America. Yes, we can.
This year, we've launched something called the Reading Challenge that we hope will be a way for this initiative to have much more resonance outside of Washington, D.C., where we always have the awards nowadays. The Reading Challenge is part of our Africana Book Club, and it is to help increase awareness of the Caba winners and other great books that come to our attention through the submission process. We've learned that it's not only enough to find great books and honor great books, you have to keep them in print.
I just wanted to say that one day someone approached me and they asked me, it was at a party, and they asked me, "So Rudy, what do you do?" And I explained, well, I'm an artist. And I paint and draw, and sometimes I get paid for it. And I teach at a college a couple of days a week. And he looked at me and he said, "It's not a job." And I said, "I know, it's not a job, it's a living." But what I didn't explain to him was that art is an extension of who I am. It's about magic. It's about building a bridge from soul to soul. It's about transportation to a higher self. It's about spreading that. It's about teaching that we all have divinity and validity, and there's a responsibility to do this, whether it's a children's book, a mural, a painting on a gallery wall, a magazine piece, and I take it real seriously. And I want to thank you all for spreading that magic.
This is an honor to be in such distinguished company, very much so, and we're very proud. And Susan Roth, the illustrator who made the wonderful cut paper collages, is traveling now and not able to be here. So I speak for both of us. We're very happy to be here, and I thank everyone who made this celebration possible. It's been a glorious few days. I'm also quite excited to share with you the brand new Arabic version of Ayadi Hawla al-Maktaba, Anayed Tawit al-Kutub al-Masraya. You can all take a look at it. We don't have many copies of it yet. My brother-in-law actually sent it and got it here just in time for this weekend.
Just a few words. I'm very honored and very pleased and proud to be in this company and to have made my small contribution. I would also like to thank two people who are not here. The first is a friend whose father, Jacques de Foyard Brown, who grew up in Zimbabwe and who wanted me to understand the predicament of the San people. He offered to take me to Botswana if I could figure out a way to pay for it. That he would take me there to meet the San so that we could do a project to make people in the United States understand who they are and where they're living and how they're living. So I want to thank Father Jacques for that. And then I'd also like to thank my publisher, Stephen Roxburgh, who was with Boyd's Mills Press. When I told Stephen about this invitation, he said, "We'll give you an advance for an unspecified book to pay for your trip." And so I want to thank both of them for this, and thank all of you.
I speak to about 100,000 students every year. One of the things I ask of them, I'm going to ask of you right now. Could you please raise your hand if you're African? Actually, you all should have raised your hands. I don't care if you believe a religious version, I don't care if you believe a scientific version. We are all African. Sometimes I hear very, very smart people say very, very dumb things. Things like there's different races of people. One race, one people. We're all African. Thank you for this honor.
Thank you very much. I feel very honored to be here this morning. I have to say thank you to my mom and dad for paying for art school. Sorry I didn't become a lawyer, but I'm very happy that I'm able to pursue my dream as an illustrator. And working on this book, The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, I work in my home studio, and I live alone, so I often feel like I'm living in my own little bubble, surrounded by my paint and my papers, and all my art supplies, and it's sometimes a lonely experience working on the book. And I feel very honored that once the book is out in the world, people are reading it and they're identifying with the stories and the people and the places, and I hope to keep bringing positive stories about Africa out into the world. Thank you.
This book is about a voice and its truth. Abena Mansa could not read or write, but she stood tall in the classroom and cried out her truth for all to hear. A judge and a jury, all men, heard that voice but could not comprehend her truth and filed away her case for 150 years. A historian was lucky enough to find those words and spent 15 years listening for the voice. His family helped him to hear those truths, and an artist turned those truths into art. An editor believed in it enough to publish it. Many others did not. Young people read the book and recognized the voice and her truth. That women like her could not be robbed of their voices by racism, by sexism, by captivity, or by poverty. That truth became part of ours. And I'd like to thank Caba and the Museum of African Art and African Access for allowing her voice and her truth to go forward to a wider audience.
Far From Home is a story from the heart, and it's about a place that captured my heart. Growing up in Zimbabwe, as you heard, my parents are South African. I was born in the UK, so I actually have no Zimbabwean paperwork at all. But growing up there, learning to love the people, learning the history, understanding the culture, it's now a part of me. And when I had the opportunity to write Far From Home and share a part of that history, a history that I felt was being lost by the constant media focus on a certain injustice being suffered by white farmers and their families. Really, the reason I wrote Far From Home was because I wanted to give a historical context to what was happening in the news. And I also wanted the young people of Zimbabwe, the young people of Africa, and the young people and adults of the world to be able to access that part of our history. And it's not only our history. It's not just a Zimbabwean history. It's a Kenyan history, it's an Australian history, it's a Native American history, it's a New Zealand history, it's Nairobi, you're talking all over Africa, all over the world. There has been loss, there has been betrayal, there has been love, there has been redemption, and there's been forgiveness. So really, Far From Home is my love letter to Zimbabwe, and for it to be honored in this way, really, it does always bring me to tears, so much that I really can't speak. And I just want to thank you for bringing me here and welcoming me and honoring Far From Home. And thank you all for attending and being here. And I hope that the children, young people, and adults who read our work get what we're trying to say and get the piece of us that we've all put into our work. Thank you very much.
Ernie. And I wish I had done all your books with me, so I could have I teach children's literature at Salisbury University. Those teachers.
Grade level for this, we've been on trial, let's say more or less 13 class, 12, 13 class.
Thank you.